Otis McDonald was a retiree and experienced hunter that lived in Chicago. After having his house broken into for the fifth time and deciding a shotgun was too hard to handle, he wanted to own a handgun to protect himself. The city of Chicago had a law that was passed in 1982 that made registration a prerequisite of owning a handgun, and on top of that enacted a citywide ban on them, making it impossible for McDonald to legally own a handgun. McDonald and 3 other Chicago residents then filed a lawsuit against the city of Chicago. McDonald took the case to court after hearing about D.C. v. Heller, where the Supreme Court had found that a law violated the Second Amendment, which gave individuals the right to keep and bear arms. After losing in both the District Court and the Court of Appeals, he was granted a writ of certiorari by the U.S. Supreme Court, meaning that they'd hear him one last time.
Often compared to McDonald versus Chicago is D.C. versus Heller. D.C. placed a ban on handguns, and the Supreme Court ruled the ban was unconstitutional. The court upheld that the Second Amendment guarantees an individual the right to gun ownership, and the government cannot infringe on that. Similarities between the cases include the ban on handguns and using the Second Amendment as support. Plus, the Supreme Court ruled similarly in both cases.
After losing twice, the trial began on June 28, 2010.
The court is now in session. Both sides state your argument, starting with McDonald.
I have the right to bear arms. I need to protect my family.
Chicago's law should stand because it doesn't ban guns completely. You just have to follow a procedure to get a permit to keep one.
All right, does everyone agree?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
All right, let's take a vote, everyone. The Supreme Court has ruled in a 5-4 majority in favor of McDonald. We have determined that under the 14th Amendment, the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms is applicable to state and local governments. Using old decisions of the court and past cases, it was decided that the right to keep and bear arms is necessary to our system of order, liberty, and that self-defense is a basic right.
Okay, well, nothing in the Second Amendment made it fundamental for private self-defense, and the regulation of private firearm use should remain in democratically elected legislature's hands, not to the courts and Fed.
The Second Amendment is the main one that came into question during this court case, but the 14th Amendment applies too. The Second Amendment allows citizens the right to bear arms, and the 14th Amendment says that no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law.